In this video, you will learn exactly how I went from making $105,000 a year to making $187,000 a year in only 59 short days, along with a detailed breakdown of my exact strategy that you can essentially leverage to land your dream six-figure senior role. So let's get started. I took a step for myself and quit my toxic job on June 8th, 2023. My income dipped all the way to zero. I was initially making $105,000 a year, and that was base. I spent 2 weeks implementing all of the strategies that we will go over, and I started landing interviews. Healthcare companies, fintech companies, tech companies, and so many more. Landed interviews with TikTok, Yahoo, Cisco, Charles Schwab, Cognizant, General Motors, Cigna, HubSpot, Amazon, Google, Wayfair, Sony, and a bunch more, AT&T as well. And in the 5th week of my job search, I received an offer from Duke Energy, and I kept interviewing, and I got interviews with Schwab and Cognizant and all of these consulting firms. I also got offers from Schwab and Mahindra, which is another company. I ended up with 3 offers total, so Schwab, Duke Energy, and Mahindra. And I just picked the first one, which I wouldn't advise for you, but in transparency, I just picked the first one. The offer with Duke Energy paid me $90 an hour. So that's roughly $187,000 in base. And I started my job August 7th. So that's 59 days total, 41 days to receive the offer, and then roughly 18 days to start. So that is a 78% raise. Now, before I tell you exactly how you can do this, I want to make it very clear that this training is specifically designed for mid-career professionals who have at least 4 years of experience and are stuck making around 100 grand a year, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. You want to change jobs and you're essentially super talented, but you're stuck at roughly 5 interviews per month, or God forbid, even less. And even though you're super talented and you're great at what you do, you've observed that no matter how many interviews you land, they just never seem to call you back. And you're probably frustrated at your current role due to career stagnation, maybe frustration with office politics, and you're applying to roles and just never hearing back. So let's dig deeper into the journey that I had. The first 2 weeks, I was really busy in implementing all of the strategies that we will go over. And after that, each week, at least 10 interviews. And I was having 10 interviews per week. So the week from July 29th to July 6th, I got many interviews, as you can see here. General Motors, Yahoo, Duke Energy, TikTok, Cisco, so on and so forth. The next week, I got even more interviews. Second round of interviews with Yahoo, with TikTok, I believe, and also Wayfair. And then more interviews along the pipeline. And eventually I landed the offer with Duke Energy on July 19th. Started working there, and I started on the August 7th. That was my first meeting. And I basically gave a few interviews before and a few interviews after just to make sure. But that's the entire journey, right? And so this is meant for you if you are looking to advance in your career, you've put in the work, you've grinded for a long amount of time in your career, and you want to follow a proven system to do it predictably and consistently. Now, if you have less than 4 years of experience, then this isn't really for you because you're not at a place where I need you to be in order for these strategies to actually work for you properly and to see the amazing results that me and my clients typically get. So these are just like all of the results which I will go into. And you're probably operating from a scarcity mindset. You really haven't spent enough time in your career building up the foundational skills that are required of you to actually create lasting impacts and lasting results for your employers, which is why you probably might even have imposter syndrome. And it's really important to me that you also have to be a great employee. You have to be an actual domain expert and be great at what you do. And so it's also important to say that this training is not meant for professionals who are looking for a quick and easy fix. This is not a band-aid solution. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. If that's you, then please go watch someone else's video because there's no such thing, essentially. And so this is not for career hackers who will inevitably end up underperforming and become a scam artists of types because they don't really have the foundational knowledge or skills to succeed in their role. But if you are a genuine person who's focused on building real expertise steadily throughout your career, then this is exactly for you. Now, I'm not going to help you market yourself if you don't have the skills and results to actually market yourself. I don't work with people who try to get around by lying or cheating, because those guys are morons who actually have no results, who don't create results for their employers, and they don't have any values, they don't have any results. They just don't have a good foundation for their careers. And so that's really important to me. That's one of the check boxes that you have to tick off before I accept you as a client. And that makes a really dialed in and smooth process once you get to interviewing for positions. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, if you've been stuck in your role, know that it's not your fault. You have been misled for years by job application coaches and resume writers to believe that you need to apply for more jobs and you need to tailor your resume to each and every job application. I swear every resume writer tries to sell you their resume template or their job application service. They want you to believe that you need to apply for 100 random jobs a day with a customized resume to each one. No surprise, they're also selling you their resume template, and almost 90% of the times, the resume that they also sell you is complete garbage. And even if you had the perfect resume, you have to understand that it wouldn't get you anywhere, because there are literally 1,000 people exactly like you who applied to the same job with the same exact resume. And ever since 2022, everyone has been using AI resume apply robots that rapid fire to hundreds of random positions and drown your application in the sea of applications. And so without the right strategies, even if you apply for 1,000 jobs a day with the so-called perfect resume, it won't work. And so I was also in the same position as you. I applied with a customized resume to every role because that's what all of the resume writers told me that I needed to do. I never landed any interviews doing that. And so I sat for hours and applied to hundreds of jobs every day without any results, because that's what a stupid LinkedIn learning course told me, and it was completely useless. And because I never got any interview requests, I thought that I was doomed to being stuck in the same role, not making the money that my skill set deserved, and I thought that I was underqualified. I seriously considered going into $50,000 worth of debt to go back to university because all of my friends and family told me that I would land job interviews with good companies if I headed back to college, which was a major lie. And I saw people who were successful without an Ivy League master's degree or fancy certifications. Over the course of half a decade, I experimented with 70 strategies until I found what worked to consistently and predictably land dream interviews at target companies and convert them into killer offers. And you probably think that this sounds crazy and way too good to be true, and I did too until I saw the results that it created for myself and my clients. And these are all of the interviews that I received from great companies, inclusive of Google, TikTok, again, Google, Yahoo. This is a client testimonial where he got an interview with Capgemini and Deloitte. TikTok again, HubSpot, and so many more interviews. General Motors, Cognizant, Wayfair, Duke Energy, another client testimonial with Rahul, who got interviews with Meta and Amazon. This is one of the LinkedIn screenshots where 615 recruiters searched for a client. General Motors and Capital One, Confluent, Wayfair, Cigna, so many companies. We've collectively gotten all of these interview requests, and if me and my clients were able to land interviews and get offers, you can absolutely do it too, even though you might not think that that's possible for you right now. And so let's go into a few more case studies as well. This is a recruiter from AWS who reached out to a client. This is a recruiter from Apple who reached out. This is a recruiter from Capgemini, another recruiter from American Express, another recruiter for a Cognizant role, another recruiter from Apple. So many people reaching out on LinkedIn, a call that was being booked on AWS for Amazon, another recruiter for a Fortune 500 company over a GKE role. This was also American Express. An interview with Tech Mahindra, another interview with Google, an interview with Nike for a software engineering position, and so many more. Another interview from Meta. This was for a client as well. And just so many interviews, so many offers. And before we dive into the exact framework and the exact strategy that you can use, you're probably wondering who I am. So here's a quick 20-second highlight reel of basically everything that I've done and why you should listen to me. My name is Viswa if you don't already know me. I help mid-career professionals land their next 100 to 300K senior role and open up a world of opportunities for the rest of their career, essentially making them layoff proof. I've been a lead engineer for years at multiple Fortune 50 firms that you love and know, including AT&T, Home Depot, and CVS. I've worked on projects worth well over $100 million, including the preferred pricing initiative at Home Depot, and more recently, the AI efforts at CVS and AT&T. In the past, I spent a lot of time being stuck at small companies, not knowing what to do do until I realized that I was approaching it the wrong way. And from that time, I was able to help myself and my clients land over $2 million of offers over the course of 330 interviews. So there you go, that's all about me. And now I'm going to share with you exactly how I achieved all of those results for myself and my clients. And I'd like to preface that I don't have a fancy degree. I only have a bachelor's degree from a university that I guarantee that you've never heard before. So if you don't have an Ivy League degree or a master's degree or fancy certifications, don't think that you can't have an extremely successful career without one. If you do have one of those degrees, good for you, and they can help. Now, here's the exact framework that I've used and helped clients implement, and I'm going to break down all 5 steps of the exact process in clear and precise language, and I'm going to show you exactly what I did to get all of these results without having to apply for 100 jobs a day or have any crazy self-promotion tactics, to a thriving employee working on fulfilling work and getting paid above or well above market rate as fast as possible. So let's get cracking. And at the end of the video too, I'm going to break down my entire program. I'm literally going to peel back the curtain and show you inside step by step so that I can help you do the same. And I want to make sure that this video is going to be really valuable for you. So that being said, a link to my calendar will be down below, so you can book in a call with me to see if you're a good fit and if you qualify for the program. But for now, grab a piece of paper and a pen because there's going to be a lot of value for you in this video. So let's get going. Your career is visualized in the shape of this funnel. I call this funnel the Boost framework. This is the exact system that me and my clients have used to define the entire senior job search at every single stage. It's also the same exact framework that I help every client implement to have a more successful career, make much more money than they did previously, find work that they love, and also set their future self up for better roles down the road. And implementing the entire framework only requires 4 hours per week. It is much better than applying to jobs for 4 hours a day to see no results. So we start here at the bottom at the foundations because that is the base. First, you identify the hard and the soft skills that you have, the results that you've created throughout the course of your career for all of your employers, along with the personal and professional goals that you have to construct a dream career path that you envision for yourself. The output of this whole exercise, along with the assessments, is the brand identity. This brand identity is going to be used in all of the subsequent stages. And so you've learned that setting up the right foundations and channeling the outputted brand identity into the next step of the framework is so important in order to attract the right opportunities towards you. Isn't it amazing that you've learned the importance of positioning yourself and creating your brand identity? And so the next step is to take that brand identity that you've created and to plug it at the top of the funnel, which is essentially to attract the best opportunities. And so looking at this diagram, you might think that this is really complicated and hard and scary to set up and manage, but in reality, it's actually really simple. For example, my client Rahul, who's never had a presence online, was able to implement all of the steps of the opportunity stage within just 4 hours a week, and in his first 2 weeks, attract attention from Meta and Amazon. So this is literally his Slack message when he received that. He got interviews with Meta and Amazon, and he interviewed with them well. And so in this stage, you have to inject the brand identity that you've created into your positioning. And so this is the meat and potatoes of this training, so listen up. If you aren't posting content on LinkedIn, you are doing it wrong. But if you're simply posting content with the hope that things will stick, you're doing it even worse. You have to know how to write content with proven strategies and a data-backed approach that'll get you the most amount of eyeballs and engagement from recruiters. Next, you're going to have to build a LinkedIn funnel. Since there's so much to cover, I can only go over this in a very high level, and it's far beyond the basic headline, photo, and banner optimization that everyone in this space screams. However, there are certain levers that when you tweak, they will start attracting recruiters. To implement these, you want to make sure that you have a solid understanding of the algorithms that LinkedIn uses behind the scenes. So ego clustering, career simulation scores, affinity edges, and understanding how deep NLP works on LinkedIn search and how you can optimize for it. And there are so many more as well. And so once you understand what those are, you can implement that knowledge and build out the LinkedIn funnel, which is extremely effective in channeling in recruiters because they can only see you when they search for candidates. Now, the combination of writing content that has been proven to be seen by recruiters and the LinkedIn funnel will work hand in hand to get you the most amount of opportunities from LinkedIn. To show you the results of how the LinkedIn funnel funnels in opportunities from recruiters, let's have a look at some of these screenshots. So you see here, literally 5 or 6 recruiters reached out on the same day because of the LinkedIn funnel. Many recruiters reached out on the 3rd, the 2nd, the 28th of November. So many recruiters are reaching out because of the funnel that we built out for our client. And let's have a look at another screenshot where we go over the second screenshot. There are so many recruiters that are reaching out on the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, so many on the 9th. It's literally uncountable, right? And so with all of that, these are all inbound opportunities. Outbound opportunities would be the ones that you get by employing a combination of these 4 things. Strategic relationship building, which involves building relationships with hiring managers and recruiters. And by relationship building, I don't mean just sending out a cold LinkedIn connection request, because that's utterly useless. Also, another part of the stage is to strategically attend online and in real life events to build relationships in those events to later connect with, provide value to, and leverage to get referrals. However, it is super important to also identify a few applications that are really worth applying to and essentially get the right person to back up your application. It usually takes around 2 to 3 weeks of implementing the entire opportunity stage to see that consistent and predictable flow of interviews. When this entire stage is dialed in completely, it's given me and my clients a record week of roughly 17 interviews per week, which is absolutely crazy. And the only time that you would have to spend doing this is maybe 4 to 5 hours per week. Much better than applying to jobs for 4 hours a day and seeing no results. And you might be wondering whether this system will work for you if you are from a smaller industry, which is totally valid. In fact, I've actually found that some of the people who saw the most results are actually the people in smaller industries with little competition already. For example, my client Vardhan was in procurement and he was able to secure a much better career in his dream industry in finance. That's weird, right? Since procurement is such a focused industry, he actually landed offers in the procurement space, but he wanted to pivot to finance. So it will definitely work for you too. Now remember, you can have all of the inbound and outbound strategies right, and you can get many interview requests, but in order to convert them into real interviews and opportunities, you will need to have a decent resume and cover letter. However, I see way too many people in this space treat the resume and cover letter as the absolute main point of focus, which it absolutely is not. They say, I need a perfect resume, but the reality is your resume and cover letter are secondary. Even if you have a perfect resume, if you don't have the right ways to get attention, you absolutely won't get any interview requests. So now that you've learned that applying to jobs is the worst way to approach landing interviews because you won't land interviews, isn't it awesome to know that you can consistently and predictably land a steady stream of interviews through injecting your brand identity into your content, into the LinkedIn funnel, into the relationships that you build tactically, and how you leverage them and the events that you attend? Can you see how different your job search would look when you've got recruiters coming to you every single day? And so all of this leads to the next stage of the framework. In this stage, you're going to have different types of interview requests, each with a certain type of preparation associated with it. You will have to refine your interviewing skills and understand the multiple personality types of interviewers, as well as learning how to maintain your frame and positioning and present yourself in interviews. And once you're done with interviewing, you also have to follow up with your interviewer to significantly increase the chance of you landing the job. Also, if the interview doesn't go well, it's okay. You have to collect feedback and implement them in your next preparation session. Once an offer or multiple offers are presented to you, you will have to effectively negotiate your salary in order to maximize compensation. Can you see how different your job search would be if you have a proven system and strategies to attempt each and every interview that you get in the door? Imagine what it would be like to negotiate a $30,000 salary increase confidently. It would be awesome, right? And so now once you accept your best offer, that leads us to the next stage where you want to successfully transition to your new role over the next 90 days. This is the most important time in which you either set yourself up for success or obscurity. In this stage, you will have to focus on building relationships with your company, getting quick wins that will keep you in the favor of management, gather and learn feedback about the ways that you can set yourself up for the most amount of success, and achieve the most results in order to ideally land a promotion in your company within the first 6 or 12 months. Now that you've learned how you can best transition to your next role from your present one and effectively set yourself up for success within only 90 days, unlike outdated job search advice, the Boost framework is specifically tailored for you, repeatable, and proven. It's definitely not about mass applying to random applications or using generic resume templates. And the entire outcome of the Boost framework is to build an unshakable brand, install a process to make sure that you have a predictable predictable and consistent flow of interview requests, and also knowing how to convert and negotiate them into your dream offer. And once you have that dream offer and you accept it, it's also important to know how you can set yourself up for the most amount of success so that you can get promoted within 6 months or a year from now. And now that you've learned how the Boost framework is the best way to solve your career stagnation, and it's the most predictable and consistent way to fast track your career success that you are looking for and you deserve, and that you can start seeing results in terms of excellent opportunities within just the first 2 weeks, and you're wanting to learn more about how you can apply the exact Boost framework to your career journey, provided that you have at least 4 years of experience, then click the link in the description and book in a call with me or my team, where we will show you exactly how you can plug this proven and repeatable system for yourself. So click the link below, book in a call, and we'll talk to you soon. Imagine never having to send another cold job application or wonder why you aren't getting interviews. Picture a future where you're consistently landing offers from top companies that value your expertise and essentially make that move all the way from the growth stage to the master stage. I have another video where I talk about this exact diagram, but you can pause the video and have a look at this. I essentially help you go from the growth stage to the master stage. And so from here, there's only really 2 paths that you can take. Path A is that you dial in your brand identity, you try to write content on your own, you try to construct the LinkedIn funnel, and then you do outbound in the hopes that it might land you results, which it might. But as I showed you throughout the training, all of those things are only the tip of the iceberg. If you don't have every single part of the framework completely dialed in, then you are shooting yourself in the foot by not attracting the opportunities that you could have been getting. And you might waste a lot of time in applications or with content that's just not performing. And you're not going to be earning that higher salary. In the process, you will lose anywhere between $3,000 to $6,000 a month in potential earnings, coupled with being stuck and frustrated in a job that you hate, which I don't want for you. So you're going to be happy in the short term because there's going to be no growth, and growth lies outside of your comfort zone because your brain is designed to keep you comfortable and not happy. But long term, you're going to be sad because you're unfulfilled and you're below your potential that you know that you deserve. Which leads me to path B. Your second option, path B, is to book in a call with me by clicking the calendar link in the description below this video, where I will show you exactly how you can leverage the entire Boost framework to land and convert the best opportunities with absolute certainty and consistency. This means that you could start attracting your dream interviews to you within the next 2 weeks and never have to randomly apply for another job in your life. Just like Rahul, who went from being stuck at his role for years to landing interviews with Meta, Amazon, Deloitte, Capgemini, and so many more. This entire wall is filled with interviews and testimonials. Or Vardhan, who made a career pivot from being stuck in procurement for multiple years to now working in banking and is now making much more money. And you've seen my journey, and I got a 78% raise after dialing down each and every component of the Boost framework. So if you're actually committed to your goals and the growth of your career, book in a call with me down below and I'll talk with you soon. You genuinely owe it to yourself to achieve everything that you've been dreaming of, and I'd love to help you to make that happen. And I also want to cover some questions that I get asked on a frequent basis. The first question is, how much time do I need to see results? And I would say it really depends. I've seen people who've speedrun the entire program. It usually takes them around 2 weeks to start seeing results and land their first interviews, and they land their role in 40 days. For others, it takes longer because they arrive into the game on a different level, and that's not wrong. Everyone has their own speed and abilities, but again, the framework has been proven time and time again. The second question that I've seen often is, do I need to create content? The answer is mostly yes. Creating good content is really going to supplement the LinkedIn framework that you will create. The LinkedIn funnel is like a fire, and great content is like gasoline to the fire. But remember that making bad content without a strategy is something that the algorithm picks up on and pushes you down. That's why it's really important to make good content with a proven system. Me and my clients make amazing content all under 2 hours a week, and this is some proof of that. So you see that this post has 200,000 impressions and roughly a 1,300 profile visit ratio. What you see here is just my watermark. This is my company's name. It's Career Victory, because I help people become successful in their careers. And there's another screenshot where you can see another account also having roughly 200,000 views. And here's another screenshot where basically you see that there's 615 search appearances. So recruiters are actively searching for that person, and this person has roughly 1,000 post impressions. The third question is, how much time do I need to dedicate to this process to see see results? The answer to this is you will need to dedicate 4 hours a week to implement the steps of the framework. But truth be told, once you've set up your entire LinkedIn funnel, you don't really need to work too much on that later on. Rather, you'll just need to focus on making content, and that shouldn't take you more than 90 minutes a week. And you can do that over the weekend. And that is much better than spending 4 hours a week applying to random jobs that you will never hear back from. The fourth question is, do you have a money back guarantee? The answer is not really. We've generally found that the people that we work with who want money back guarantees really have unrealistic expectations and find ways to fail. So they typically want to guarantee that they're going to get a $400,000 raise in the next 20 days, and we don't really put up with that. However, we do have a guarantee that if you put in the work and implement everything that we tell you to do, then you should see results, and we will work with you until you do. The fifth question that people ask me is, does the entire coaching process really work? The answer to that is, I am yet to work with a person who this process hasn't worked for. I'm also extremely selective in terms of who I work with. Some coaches make offers to everyone who has a pulse. I'm not like that. I'm extremely selective in who I make offers to, and I only do that when I genuinely believe that I can help someone. That being said, the best coaches also need coaches. I have personally invested over $30,000 in my growth by learning from people who are a couple steps ahead of me so that they can collapse my learning curve and save me a lot of time. Because at the end of the day, time is the most valuable asset, because you can find $5 on the road, but you can never find 5 minutes on the road. The sixth question that I've heard is, I think I'm underqualified and I need to go back to school. Listen, you do not need to go back to school unless you don't have a bachelor's degree or a basic degree. I personally thought that I needed to go back to school and listen to all of the dumb advice that I received from people who are not even where I wanted to be. I know people who have PhDs and are still unemployed. As long as you are a genuine, hardworking person who has worked hard throughout the course of your career, building up skill sets, and have created great value for your employer, and you actually have the skills, going back into debt is not the way. You need to follow a proven framework that has worked in producing amazing results. If you do that, I promise you, you can't fail. Question number 7. The job market is really bad right now. Will this framework still apply? Remember that top talent is always hired. The framework will position you to be in the 1% of professionals who I call the master professional. As you recall from seeing this diagram, the master professional is the pinnacle of professionals. There will never be a day that you cannot be hired. Even during mass layoffs, this system will keep feeding you opportunities that others will not have access to. And it is hard not to be hired if you have so many interviews and you're actually good at what you are. And so the final question that I've heard is, I'm in a month that has low hiring. How long should I wait until I apply this exact framework? The answer is, waiting is one of the worst things that you could do. Although hiring dips a bit during a couple months, remember that employers are always searching for top talent. The top 10% of employees can always find a job. For example, historically, June, July, and August are one of the worst months for hiring. I landed 3 offers during that time alone. You saw my example. So the next time someone gives you the excuse of, hey, the timing is not good, the market is not good, make sure that you correct them. Make sure that you correct them, because the best time to act was yesterday, and the second best time to act is today. And so now that we have most of the questions that you might have answered, if you're really serious about taking your career to new heights,
book a call with me in my calendar, and my team or myself will speak with you real soon.